you should globalize your life before it's too late to become neutral. Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Report. Today I wanted to go over why neutrality is increasingly dying in the New World Order, and why, if you're not quick with how you introduce neutrality into your life, you may be stuck with the West or the East very soon. And it wasn't that long ago that, of course, the Cold War created a two-bloc system with Russia on one side under the Iron Curtain and the US under leadership in the quote-unquote free world. Now, this is something that's very interesting, as I am presently under the former Iron Curtain, and I am seeing the impacts and implications of a new global order that is playing out. Of course, in Chisinau, I don't believe that there will be as much Russian influence as is thought of, but I do think that Chinese influence is coming quick, and if the EU cannot get Moldova on its side quick enough, then it won't be Russia or Romania that gets the contracts and so forth from Moldova. Instead, it will be China, and as Moldova grows, of course, it is becoming increasingly interesting to China, as, of course, China is known for investing in developing countries and then trapping them into their sphere of influence. Now, this isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, I think that for a long time, the global order has been strictly the US, and there has been no competition. And I believe that competition inherently is good. It is a good thing. That said, of course, I do think that the globalization of trade and commerce is very important, and I hope that within the next few years the trade isn't disrupted and so forth with the tariffs that, of course, are impacting not just developing countries but everyone. And of course, if you are looking at creating tariff-proof strategies, I will be putting a link down below where I go over tariff-proof strategies for 2025. Now, the tariffs are being rolled back. They should be rolled back eventually. However, that isn't to say that all tariffs are gone and that you shouldn't learn how to navigate tariffs. However, the New World Order is dominated by tariffs, and it is inherently being waged not on the battlefield, but on the trading floor. And so as trading becomes more and more controversial, I think that realistically the views on how things end up will be more dictated based on economic standing than military prowess. And of course, the US has always known this, and additionally, their humanitarian networks have been huge drivers of influence and prestige. Of course, US aid used to be very controversial before it was entirely debunked and removed. And of course, if you are looking for a YouTube video on how US aid being debunked is not necessarily the win that you think it is, I will link that in the description down below as well. But as the US grows and matures, there is more pushback. And of course, this is not inherently a bad thing, as also other countries do need a chance at bucking the trends, and it is keeping the US accountable, it is keeping the US more competitive, and of course that is something that is always appreciated. So actually, thank you, China. However, of course, if you are looking for a place with more free speech, with more democratic rights, then you will, of course, want a place that is closer to the West than the East. Now, some don't actually care about free speech, don't care about politics, these things. That's someone like me. I believe in neutrality, I believe in lacking politics, and instead focusing on systems, which is what this channel is about. And of course, globalization is more related to systems than it is politics. However, of course, politics play into systems. This is why I go in so into depth in politics. However, of course, the geopolitical systems are shifting, and they are shifting towards trade, which is what obviously business owners do. They do trade and commerce. And so, as this new world order happens, I think that either the US solidifies dominance and the US creates a larger market share, and as that larger market share blooms and blossoms, you will gain a little bit more of the effect of the US, and if not, China will take their place. And while I think that Russia is still a threat to the global order, so to speak, which you can consider that good or bad depending on your views, I think that realistically Russia is no longer powerful enough to buck the global order, and I think that increasingly people are delusional towards Russia for no real reason, as I think that realistically in 2022 they showed that they could not effectively change anything that was happening. Of course, NATO has helped Ukraine substantially, and whether or not you support that is irrelevant. They have, and of course that is something that has kept Ukraine afloat. But as the US creates these new battlegrounds on the realm of economics, I think that we'll see an interesting flip in how things are going and what people are doing to save money and to diversify their investments. And I think that, again, neutral countries will benefit the most. They always do. And so if you're looking for the next frontier market, I will be showing you all of the potential options. I am presently, as I said, in Chisinau, Moldova. And so, of course, if you are interested in any of these topics, feel free to subscribe. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like. If you really liked it, feel free to share. This has been the Traveling Report, and I'm signing out. See you guys.